Shabbat giving to you all. Good to see you all. I'm glad we've got a minion. That's wonderful. A few months ago when I was asked to do this, I was delighted to get this chance, but I'm always iffy about the words if I'm not singing them. So I wanted to make sure that I enlisted someone excellent, so I enlisted my dear friend Janet to help out tonight. So Janet will lead you through the service, and I'll basically be singing primarily.
Good evening. We'll be starting with an opening song, Shalom Aleichem, which you'll find on page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei, Malachei Elyon. Mi-melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei, Malachei Elyon. Mi-melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei, Malachei Elyon. Mi-melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Tzedchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei, Malachei Elyon. Mi-melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu.
I'd like to invite Elaine and Joe Jacoby to join us up here to bless the candles to welcome Shabbat. You'll find that on page 120, 121.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu
On page 138, you'll find Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi lekrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nalcha Ki mekol habracha מקדם נסורך סוף מעשה במחשבה תהילה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת Toriri ki varech chumi hori uri shir daberin Shabbat nekabela Boi v'shalom Ateret b'hala Gam b'simcha u'tzola
The Chatzi Kaddish will be found on page 263.
יתקדל ויתקדש שם אל הבא בעלמא יבורך ידותה וימליך מלכותה בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל Bagala, bagala, uvisman kariv, veimeru, amen. Yesh meraba mevarach, me'alam ulan me'amaya, yitzmarach, yitvarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitzvah, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitatan, v'yitaneh, v'yitalal, shemed kudeshav urichu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushmekata v'nechamata, adamiran mi'alma, vehimeru, amen.
Please rise for the Baruch Hu, which you'll find on page 264.
Baruch Hu Adonai, HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai, HaMevorach, Le'olam V'ad.
Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of the earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Aravim.
Ahavat olam, Bet Yisrael, Alecha ata, Amcha avta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachvenu uv'komenu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו. Nege Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. You will find the Ve'ahavta on page 268.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובחומך. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים ללכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We read together, "You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God." On the next page, we'll read responsively, "We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all." Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. When will redemption come? Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
Hayam livne Moshe. כי פד אדוני את יעקב, וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גל ישראל.
Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim.
Shabbat, Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובן, בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי השמיים ואת הארץ. וביום השביעי שבת
Please rise for the tefillah on page 273.
Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ואהבה. מלך עוזר ומשיח ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ולופחי חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. We read together in the middle of page 278. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfills its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat.
Baruch atah
I'm reading on page 281. For the good in us which calls us to a better life, we give thanks. For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise. For the desire in us which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful. For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha ne'eh lohodot.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamecha Tasim Leolam Ki Ata Melech Adon Lechol Hashalom V'tov Benecha את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך.
We read together on page 282. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavarech et amo Yisrael, Bashalom. We've reached the point in our service where we want to think about all of those who are loved ones of ours, who are people we know, people in our community and in the world in need of healing. If there's someone with whom you'd like to offer this, please feel free to say that name right now.
Dr. Carolyn Steiger,
Jim Smith,
Crum family.
Steve Ulrich, David Ziesmer. You will find the Misha Baruch on page 371.
Mekol habracha comes before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberachim otenu, mekol habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
We take a moment for personal reflection.
Say shalom bimromav, uyase shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Hi. Shabbat Shalom once again. The Torah portion this week is Vav Shev, which is actually the longest portion in the entire Torah. It contains a number of incidents with people and places we could discuss, but not to worry. I've only selected one idea which relates so very well to the holiday of Thanksgiving. I hope your day and your evening were delightful, filled with good food, family time, and anything else that makes you happy. I hope so, but that may not have been the case. Your time might not have worked out that way. According to some social scientists who study family interactions, Thanksgiving may be the one secular holiday which could be fraught with tension, triggering old habits, family dramas, passive-aggressive behavior, and conversations which lead to quarrels. This may have been especially true in a time of health fears, disagreements over politics, and stressors of everyday life. And that's the connection to the Torah portion, because it contains the story of Joseph and his brothers. Now that is a family that had some dysfunction. Let's focus on the family dynamics for a minute. The interactions were really quite interesting. In some cases, the patterns go back generations of Joseph's family. As described by Rabbi Michael Gold, Abraham favored Isaac over Ishmael. Isaac favored Esau over Jacob, while Rebekah favored Jacob over Esau. Jacob favored Joseph over the other brothers. This kind of behavior seems to have been passed down generation after generation, and it still reverberates today. It is the kind of thing which we read about frequently in the paper if we're reading about those who claim one thing, i.e. that Joseph, Jacob, and company were the head of the Jewish people, and that Esau was certainly the leader and the progenitor of the Muslim traditions. So, when Jacob showed preferential treatment to Joseph, he was following a family pattern filled with tattletales and sibling rivalries. According to an article in the Wall Street Journal column called Heard on the Street, tattle probably comes into English from the word tatlin, meaning to stammer. Tracing it through place and time, and there was really quite a history here, it came to mean various kinds of idle chit-chat, often associated with women. History sometimes has not been kind to women. Something often with a malicious implication. There have been a number of tattletales who are familiar to people, and one I found to be quite surprising. Elia Kazan, before the House Un-American Affairs Committee during the McCarthy era, told tales. As a matter of fact, he gave up many names of people who were suspected communists that did not do well for their careers. Ronald Reagan, as president, not of the United States, but of the Screen Actors Guild, served as a confidential informant to the FBI. And one which I actually found quite surprising was Uncle Walt, Walt Disney. He was a personal informant to J. Edgar Hoover and even allowed Hoover to have access to scripts for TV and movie so that he could, Hoover that is, suggest changes, which did in fact happen. And of course, there's also Lucy Van Pelt from Peanuts. Which brings us to Joseph. He was 17 when his father Jacob sent him to spy on his brothers and report back, and this happened more than once. He became a tattletale. Two things about Joseph at that time. First, the boy was probably a product of unhealthy parenting. According to Rabbi Michael Dolgen, Jacob planted the seeds of arrogance and self-righteousness in Joseph. While all the sons were given tunics, which is probably a better translation than coat of many colors, Joseph's was fancier, and it reached the feet and the wrists, and that was often a sign of people who were of royal blood. That probably did not endear him to his brothers. The others were really very jealous of Joseph's and Jacob's favoring of him. Second, as a boy of 17, he was just that. He was a boy. We now know that an adolescent doesn't develop a full availability of thought processes until he or she is perhaps 25 or 26. Was Joseph being intentionally cruel and arrogant, rubbing in his favored status? Or was he just a boy? When Joseph spread tales and reported back to his father, was he doing it because he wanted to get his brothers into trouble, or simply following his father's command? Did any tattling take place at your family gathering? Then there's the idea of sibling rivalry. Rivalry in families could take many forms. It could be about who gets to sit in the front seat of the car. It could be who gets to pick the first bedroom in a new house. It could be a whole variety of things. It could sometimes go beyond childhood and into adulthood when siblings take action. For example, the interaction of the singing Andrews sisters, which everyone seems to think of as very cozy, was in fact not. They loathed each other, particularly when the sister Patty went on a new group chat. She chose to go to a new group, and she didn't tell them. The brothers Adolf and Rudolph Dassler's feud led to the breakup of a family shoe business, and that's where they formed both Adidas and Puma. Then, of course, we also have the Twix, right and left side, who are in fact rivals. Some rivalries go more than generations, one generation. So an example of that would be Eppie Lederer, better known as Ann Landers, and Pauline Phillips, better known as Dear Abby. Not only did they hate each other, so do their children who are cousins. Then there are the more drastic ways to deal with sibling rivalry, as described by the philosopher-poet Shel Silverstein in his book, Where the Sidewalk Ends. For sale. One sister for sale. One sister for sale. One crying and spying young sister for sale. I'm not really kidding, so who'll start the bidding? Do I hear $1, a nickel, a penny? Oh, isn't there anyone, one kid who will buy this old sister for sale? This crying and spying young sister for sale? And that takes us back to the Torah portion. That's where the older brothers did their thinking about what to do about Joseph. They sold him. Many of the brothers actually plotted to murder him. They took him out to the fields with that intent. But Reuben, one of the brothers, convinced his other brothers not to kill Joseph. They decided to take his tunic, and then they pushed him into a pit. At the same time Joseph was in the pit, the brothers sat around the edge eating. I think that's kind of callous. In any case, one of the brothers, Judah, convinced his brothers that they should not let Joseph die in the pit, but they saw a caravan of Midianites walking by and thought, aha, we'll sell him, which is exactly what they did. They sold Joseph to the caravan for 20 pieces of silver. Certainly we know the story goes on with Joseph arriving in Egypt and having dreams and quite some other adventures, but that's a story for another time. However, the brothers' actions are certainly an extreme example of dealing with sibling rivalry. So back to Thanksgiving. On reflection, I hope that whatever took place around your table, even if the atmosphere at times might have been a little tense, you were able to give thanks for the opportunity this year to be together. Shabbat Shalom. Announcements?
Ah, yes. Around here somewhere. Where did I put them?
I don't know. I don't have them.
Aha! So, cantorial soloist and your friendly board representative. So, announcements. Reservations are required for all in-person events sponsored by the temple, except for our religious regular services. COVID, as you know, continues to be a fluid situation. The health and well-being of our members are foremost in our minds. Updates will be available on the temple website at templese.com and through your email for temple programming. Masks continue to be mandatory for all indoor temple-sponsored events. Please be mindful to wear your masks appropriately, as you are right now, covering both nose and mouth. Please check your mask frequently for appropriate placement. We do appreciate everyone's efforts in keeping Temple Shomer Emunim members and family and friends and those who are welcome here as safe as possible. So upcoming events are as follows. Today is Friday, Andy. Sunday's first night of Hanukkah event on the November 28th has been canceled. Not enough people made reservations for it, but we will still be having the first lighting of the Hanukkah on Zoom. I'll speak of that a little bit more later on. It's in the temple bulletin, so you can check that out. Join Rabbi Kaufman for Basics of Judaism class Thursday nights, December 2nd and 9th at 7 p.m. And December 2nd's topic is, Who are the Jews today? The session will focus on the diversity of Jewish people today, ethnicity, and religious practice. November 3rd, Hanukkah Shabbat at 6 p.m. in the sanctuary, also via live stream. We'll also have a special Hanukkah musical program and take-home goodies bag, including latkes, cookies, gelt, always the worst chocolate ever, but anyway, and jelly donuts. Goodie bags must be reserved no later than Wednesday, the 1st. Okay, so we have been updating our book displays in the library. We currently have children's Hanukkah books displayed in a wonderful collection of Jewish cookbooks. Take time to come to our library and have a look. Your December bulletin has information on the upcoming Hanukkah celebrations that are being planned by the temple. In addition to in-person activities, there will be Zoom nightly menorah lighting. Please refer to the bulletin for further information and join your temple family in the nightly lighting of the lights. We have a wonderful Sunday afternoon concert series starting up, planned for late winter, early spring, featuring fellow students from the BGSU College of Musical Arts, where I happen to teach, so we're kind of trying to create a relationship with the two institutions. For your books, the dates are February 13th, March 27th, and April 24th at 3 p.m. Put the dates in your calendar, and more information will be coming, including programs as we get nearer. And that are the announcements for tonight. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Please rise for the Aleinu, found on page 586. Page 586 for the Aleinu. It's not on. It's not on.
אדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגול עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. We read together at the top of page 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved, each of us, for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, of peace. Before we go through Kaddish, I found a reading that I'd like to share with you that comes from a book called Talk to God by Rabbi Naomi Levy. Death cannot sever our connection to those we have lost. The soul is eternal and can never be extinguished. But not only the soul survives the grave, the bonds of love are stronger than death. The lessons that our loved ones taught us, their goodness, their deeds, their wisdom will remain with us always. They have left a permanent imprint upon our souls that can never be erased. They continue to guide us wherever we go. This week, we have the yortzites of the following, and if I mispronounce your name, please excuse me. Milton Adler, Emily Buter, David R. Brown, Jeffrey Kahn, Linda Kahn, Joe Coughlin, Samuel Kronstein, Benjamin Fain, Miriam Freeling, Jack L. Freelander, Julia Gordon, Steve Gordon, Ida Herman, Sarah G. Kaufman, Rosabelle M. Clivens, Estelle G. Cope, Barry Levin, David Levin, Robert Levy, Goldie Parnes, Jerry Silverblatt, Bessie H. Starsky, Sammy Thau, Bertha F. Tratner, Barry Vincent, Dorothy Wagner, Mark A. Wiederschein, and we mark the recent death of George M. Pauls, Sr. Please rise for Kaddish, which you will find on page 598. Go ahead.
Yitgadal v'yitgadal shemei Rabbah, Bilma divrach edutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach le'elam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudusha barechu, le'elamin kol berchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amin. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amin. Oseh shalom b'imramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Israel v'imru. Amen.
A prayer for the world. Let the rain come and wash away the ancient grudges, the bitter hatreds held and nurtured over generations. Let the rain wash away the memory of the hurt, the neglect. Then let the sun come out and fill the sky with rainbows. Let the warmth of the sun heal us wherever we are broken. Let it burn away the fog so that we can see each other clearly, so that we can see beyond labels, beyond accents, gender, or skin color. Let the warmth and brightness of the sun melt our selfishness so that we can share the joys and feel the sorrows of our neighbors. And let the light of the sun be so strong that we will see all people as our neighbors. Let the earth, nourished by rain, bring forth flowers to surround us with beauty. And let the mountains teach our hearts to reach upward to heaven. Amen. A prayer for the world by Rabbi Harold Kushner.
Amen.
Our closing song is Adon Olam on page 625. Shabbat
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Please join us for Kiddush in the lobby.